I'm Mary from Nerdy BookBOOK Club, and today what I have installed for you is my favorite books of 2016. So these books go in no particular order whatsoever, maybe not until the top 4. And these are books that I read this year. They may not have come out this year in particular, but they are books that I have read this year. So let's get started. So the first book that I have on my list is Magonia by Dahvana Headley. I love this world. I have mentioned it in many of our videos. I love this world and the characters. I love Azure and Jason. I sometimes look up in the sky and I'm like, oh, there are people and there are ships living in the sky. Like, that's how rich and beautiful this world is, and I loved it very much. Next on my list is The Unexpected Everything by Matson. This was our first book of the month ever. It was our July book of the month. I love this book. I think I enjoyed it so much because I connected so much with Andy, and I loved Clark because I work at a pet store and I dog sit and stuff, so I really felt where she was coming from and stuff, and it makes me enjoy my job so much more. And it was just a fun story, and the girls and I all loved it. If you haven't checked out our live book talk for this, I will leave it down in the description below. The next book on my list is Three Dark Crowns by Kendare. This was our October book of the month. This book and the world was so rich and it was so cool, and I loved all the girls and stuff and their different elements and powers and everything. The ending of this book is the biggest cliffhanger I've ever read in a book. If you haven't gone and checked this out, go check it out. It's an amazing book. If you haven't watched our live book talk of it, I will also link it down in the description below. So the next book or books that I'm going to be talking about is the first series that I read this year, and that is the Lunar Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer. I absolutely enjoyed this series. I'm really weird on retellings and stuff because I'm so traditional when it comes to like the stories and stuff. And I was very hesitant, especially getting into Cinder because of how she was kind of a robot and everything. But once I got past that, it was such a cool story and I absolutely loved it. If you haven't read this book series, I would highly recommend it to you. I did do a complete book talk on this entire series. If you haven't watched it, it's really long, but if you haven't watched it, go check it out. I will leave it in the description below. The next series that I'm gonna be talking about is not actually a series, it's a duology, but that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I bought Six of Crows when it first came out, and I had just put it on my shelf and was just like, this looks very intimidating. Let me wait and, wait for the right opportunity. And I did that. I read it at the beginning of this year, and I'm really glad that I did that because I didn't have to wait so long to read Crooked Kingdom. I love every character. I love the squad goals. I love the heist, the piracy kind of feel to it. Very, very Pirates of the Caribbean. If you haven't checked the series out, go check it out. So the next books that I'm gonna talk about are the Illuminae series by Amie, Kaufman, and Kristoff. Now, for Illuminae, I read at the middle of the year, and it was very intimidating because I had seen a lot of booktubers and other readers and bloggers read this, and it just looked so intimidating that I put it off for so long. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, let me get into this. I bought the audiobook of it, and oh my god, if you haven't listened to the audio of these books, what are you doing with your life? They are absolutely amazing, on point, on fleek. Oh my god, they are awesome. And I highly recommend them. I have done a book talk for Illuminae, linked down in the description below. I haven't done one for Gemina yet. I have read it. It's on my to-do list. I'm probably gonna reread it because I basically like flew through it, but I loved both of them. So amazing. I'm really glad that I waited to read Illuminae so I didn't have to wait so long for Gemina, but now I have to wait for the third one, so I guess I kind of screwed myself. Oops. and it's killing me. Now we're gonna get more into my top favorites of this year. So the first of my top 4 favorites was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Oh my god, this book gave me such feels and emotions. If you haven't watched my book talk, go watch it. I talk about all the feelings, the 2 problems that I had with this book. I still loved it though, but my feelings and everything like that are in my book talk. So go watch it, link down in the description below. I loved Catherine, I loved Jest, I loved Hedda. I loved this book. It was so amazingly written, as always, by Marissa Meyer. I love her writing style, as I loved the Lunar Chronicles. If you haven't checked out this book, go check it out. It is a standalone, but it's worth it. My next book in my top 4, my number 3 book, is Everland by Wendy Spindle. If anybody knows me, and all my closest friends do, I am a Peter Pan freak. Love Peter Pan. Any movie, every book, I love. This was the first retelling, though, that I have read of Peter Pan, and I loved it. It was on point. It's very, very steampunk feel, and I just loved it. I loved how they just kind of twisted each character and didn't make them, you know, the Wendy, Peter, John, Michael, like the traditional characters. It was Gwen, Pete, and then hundreds and hundreds of lost boys in this crazy London futuristic world, and I absolutely love it. I can't wait till the second book. Oh my god, like, I can't wait. I need to get my hands on it right now. If you haven't read this book, definitely go check it out. So the next books that I'm gonna be talking about in my top 4, my top 2, it's a series. It's I loved this book series so much, and that is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Yes, I only have the paperback of Darkest Minds and Never Fade. I am getting the hardcovers because Alexandra Bracken is coming to Book People on January 8th to sign for her tour for Wayfair, so yes, I'm gonna get that signed as well, but you better believe that I'm gonna get these books signed, because this series, oh my god. Like, I've cried in books before. After the ending of this book, if you have read this book, you will know what I'm talking about, but I was bawling. Like, I was like in the most depressed stage after this book. I was just so heartbroken that I was like, I need the second book. I need it now. I loved the world, I love the series. Liam is my bae. If you haven't seen any of our book tags, I talk about him a lot. He is one of my top favorite boys. And him and Ruby, I just love, and Chubbs and Sue, and I loved everything about this series. And last but not least, the number 1 book that I read this year. Now, if you have not watched any of our videos, if you are new to this BookTube channel, welcome. If you are coming back, if you are a frequent watcher, hi, hello. You should know what my favorite book was of this year, and that was A Course of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Like, oh my god, this was the best book, in my opinion, of this year. I hold kind of a favor to it, just because it came out on my birthday, so I basically got Rhysand wrapped in a pretty little bow. Just for me. This book was so much more than I could ever expect following in a sequel. Like, A Court of Thorns and Roses was amazing. I loved the retellingness of it, of Beauty and the Beast. When she started writing the concept for it, there was a lot of talk of Hades and Persephone. Everything that happens in this book makes Rhysand, just makes me love him so much more. I am so nervous for A Court of Wings and Ruin. Like, oh my god. This book was just so good. all the sexy scenes and stuff were just so much fun to read. I did listen to the audiobook of this. I didn't the first time. But the second and third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh and 10th and the 9th and the 100th time that I listened to this audiobook, because this is one of those books that I reread so much this year. Like, it was just on repeat when I would go to bed all the time. And I loved it. It was amazing. And that was my favorite books of 2016 video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite books were in the comments down below. I'm Mary from Nerdy BookBOOK Club, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Watch any of our other book videos, that's the mating call that women must say to Rhysand. You cannot just say Rhysand. You just can't. You have to say Rhysand! That is the mating call of Rhysand. Let's start the trend. Hashtag mating call of Rhysand. You ever wonder what booktubers look from down here? You know, I have on leggings and slippers with socks. So yeah, I'm well put together.